The basketball addicts are back at it. Vote Canadian. Well, except if you're Justin Trudeau, who decided to vote for a guy from Philadelphia. We all have love for Kyle Lowry, but should the Prime Minister vote for the best Canadian player in the NBA, and a guy who you eventually expect to be the captain of your national basketball team, Sonny Patak? I start with you.
Look, we're talking about politics and sports. The last time our Prime Minister tried to connect with basketball players, he gave out a shout-out to Kyle Lowry, but he should have been shouting out Anthony Bennett.
Yes.
Should he
They all look the same. No, please.
Well,
Come on, man.
I tell you they don't, right? Skinny Kyle is in right now, right? So I think what we're all love to see is a starting five of Toronto Raptors.
But
realistically, does the Prime Minister owe anything to anybody? Not quite. But I'd like to see.
I don't know.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I stand with you on that.
Do you think that fans want to see Kyle Lowry start in the game when they see Kyle play here 41 times?
Right.
I think my argument is not necessarily who the fans want to see start the game, but if you're the Prime Minister of a country and there's been a certain amount of push in the game of basketball, and this guy's the #1 overall pick, you should know who he is.
But I haven't voted for NBA All-Star. Do you have multiple votes?
Right.
So what's stopping Justin Trudeau from just going home and just like jamming the vote button for Andrew Wiggins from 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock tonight? He could do it.
Latvian leadership has been putting up boards for Kristaps Porzingis, posters.
Right.
The whole country's rallying behind him.
Right.
Andrew Wiggins is a giant country, the country closest to the NBA, and we haven't seen that groundswell of support.
Well, look, the Prime Minister may not be done voting. Look, I'm just saying.
votes.
It's
There's
true,
one
but we're trying to put
there's
that
one
pressure on
team-
him.
I'm not done. There's one team
In the country.
in the country. It just shows.
Toronto Maple
Let's look at it from the other perspective.
Okay.
Clearly, the Prime Minister is watching Toronto Raptors games,
Yes.
and he loves
Or someone,
our guy.
or someone in his cabinet.
Right? So I'm sure when we bring Andrew Wiggins right here to the ACC, the Prime Minister will hit that button.
Well, the other thing that's happening, and it's Wiggins is sort of not a victim. Victim is too strong a word, but what Wiggins is feeling is the effect of the fact that there are now 12 Canadian basketball players in the NBA. Now, if this was Venezuela, Graves Vasquez, everyone's going to vote for Graves Vasquez.
Yes.
If you're a sports fan, you go to the sports channel and say, hey, listen, I want to see 82 Milwaukee Bucks games because we only have one Venezuelan in the NBA. But Canada, there's 12 Canadians, so the groundswell of support for any one Canadian isn't necessarily going to be super strong, even if it's Andrew Wiggins.
No
Not
one's
to men-
asking for Bobby Sugar,
not to mention-
a.k.a. Robert Sacre, to make it to the All-Star game. Calm down.
Well, not to mention that the Raptors are a much better team than the team that Mr. Wiggins is on. That might play a factor.
That's also another note. But let's talk about Andrew Wiggins. Last week on the show, we talked about the fact that the Canadians hadn't supported him, and we thought maybe part of it was marketing and just awareness, branding. This is your area of expertise, Sonny. What needs to be done to get Canada, if not this year, at least next year, to make Andrew Wiggins more of a recognizable face and name?
Outside of the 30 seconds you're exposed to Andrew Wiggins on sports highlights on respective channels, you don't get him a lot here. What he needs to do is sort of create a social media presence for a guy who, doesn't like the spotlight and doesn't like doing any of that stuff. So in a perfect world, him and his team, they should come up with something pretty fast.
Gary, as a sports agent, is that a sellable thing for you when you go to a player and tell him that maybe the other pieces of the networks aren't supporting you as much? You have to create your own venues, kind of like what Gilbert Arenas did with his blog that kind of made him a superstar.
Well, I think that it's up to the agent and the rest of the people that handle him. I think that we've got to get more of our Canadian players on TV supporting brands. We need to get businesses involved.
Morgan, your
You know what I'm
perspective on what Wiggins' team needs to do?
If Minnesota won more games, if they made a run to the playoffs, things would be different. Like, you look at Steph Curry, he's a huge marketing entity out of the Bay Area, which is not as big of a market as LA, Chicago, New York, or even Houston, but he's become this massive marketing entity because he's the best player on the best team in the NBA. If the Timberwolves won more, you would see more from Wiggins. And also, to Sonny's point, like when Andrew Wiggins was a freshman at the University of Kansas, TSN said, hey, we're going to show as much University of Kansas basketball as we can. But we haven't seen the Timberwolves kind of become Canada's second team. We haven't seen broadcasters jump in line and say, hey, let's bombard the airwaves with these Timberwolves games.
Do you remember
With his
the
losses?
Do you remember the Chris Bosh video that propelled him to become an All-Star?
The howdy, yee-haw, running on the track.
Selling,
the car salesman.
The Texas car salesman. Fans are looking for digestible content They want to have a reason to put a guy into a program that they're going to spend a lot of time and money on, and Andrew's
wait.
got to figure that out.
Before we get into that, I got to talk about something.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins, kind of the next guy in line to be a superstar in the NBA. When LeBron James was that guy, he made a call very early. The Four Horsemen were going to be his guys. Rich Paul was going to be his agent. A lot of people questioned that. Now that we look back, Rich Paul got Bledsoe money. He got Tristan Thompson money after a holdout. Has Rich Paul kind of beat the game? Has he convinced you that he could possibly at one point be the best agent in the NBA? Morgan, I'll start with you on this one.
I saw Gary. How about you?
Oh, Gary wants to go. Okay, Gary, we'll let you go.
Hey, I'll go. I think we're in an era right now where players recruit other players more than anything. So Rich is fortunate in that he has LeBron, who's the best player in the game, and I think that carries a lot of weight. I do think he's a hell of an agent, and he's obviously doing something right. But I think that players recruit players quite a bit too.
So should the old boys be on guard now because John Wall's talking about now signing with them? I mean,
I think John's announced that he is going to Clutch. Rich is a phenomenal guy who's built a great book of business. He's got 11 guys. One's an all-star. Today, he's really good. The question is, where does he stand 5 years from now? LeBron will now morph into that sort of this, rainmaker of sorts. He's already got his hands in a couple of different pieces. Then I think we see the real power of LeBron and Rich Paul together. But Rich has done a great job, but he's got 11 guys. And John Wall left an agent that had 36. So we'll see in 5 years, but I think Rich has got a pretty good plan in terms of where he'll be.
He's well on his way up. We got to go to break quickly, Morgan, okay? When we come back after break, again, we mentioned we would check in on Forbes' top 30 under 30. And one guy who didn't make it, sadly, Tim Duncan. Apparently, wait, he's not under 30, is he? No, he's like the oldest guy in the league. We'll be back. More Hangout, Old Man River Walk. I like him.